Vladimir Putin is ready to speak to Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky to help find an end to the war, if necessary. The tyrant's comments come as U.S. and Russian officials met in Saudi Arabia to begin crucial peace talks today, plunging a divided Europe into more chaos. Fears have grown ever since U.S. President Donald Trump bypassed Ukraine and continental leaders to do business directly with the Kremlin. Washington has largely dominated the talks so far, with Trump holding a phone call with both Putin and Zelensky to hear their key requirements and bring about a resolution.
I think he wants to stop fighting. I see that. We spoke long and hard. Steve Witkoff was with him for a very extended period, like about 3 hours. I think he wants to stop fighting. They have a big, powerful machine, you understand that. And they defeated Hitler and they defeated Napoleon. You know, they've been fighting a long time. They've done it before. But I think he would like to stop fighting.
The Republican has urged both Kyiv and Moscow to achieve peace quickly, but in doing so has raised fears over what a deal could mean for Ukraine in the future. Putin and Zelensky have never spoken directly to one another over Vlad's illegal invasion 3 years ago, but the dictator is now said to be ready to negotiate. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov announced today Putin will talk to Zelensky, if necessary, to help achieve peace. Moscow has constantly labeled Ukraine's heroic leader as an illegitimate president, due to Zelensky continuing to be in charge despite his official term ending in 2024. Putin is expected to make a number of deranged demands when he finally meets Trump for peace talks in order to continue his reign of tyranny. The Russian dictator is believed to want to ensure his delusional dreams of a new and powerful Soviet empire won't be blocked by any deal. The Kremlin said the tense presidential sit-down would only take place after the wider issue of European security is addressed by all. Those who have spoken to Vlad claim his main ambition has always been to establish a new security framework that allows Russia to have a strong Soviet sphere of influence in Europe. This means a deal would only be agreed if Russia keep the land they have already stolen, expanding their own borders. Ukraine would also have to give back the Russian city of Kursk, which they managed to counter-invade last year. Russia's United Nations representative, Vasily Nebenzia, has already said the new borders will last forever. Another key demand of Moscow's is to ban Kyiv from joining NATO. U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has also been adamant that there is no chance Ukraine would be allowed a membership to the group. Brave Zelensky has long campaigned with European leaders to grant Kyiv a spot, as it would give them protection over Putin's army. Putin will also be pressing for an end to banking and industrial sanctions, as well as travel curbs on Russians imposed following his illegal invasion 3 years ago. Zelensky has also said he would be prepared to compromise and meet with Putin if it means ending the bloodshed in his country. Putin being open for discussions, and today's talks in Saudi Arabia reflect the rapidly growing ties between Russia and the U.S. It marks a major change since Trump took office, with previous U.S. leader Joe Biden firmly rejecting Russia and supporting Ukraine as much as possible. The talks saw U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Trump's Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff, and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz all sit down in Riyadh's Diriyah Palace. They were joined by outspoken Putin cronies Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Foreign Policy Advisor Yuri Ushako. Missing from the table were officials representing Ukraine. The talks are aimed at opening up the possibility of Trump and Putin meeting together soon. No official statements have been made yet from either side, leaving Ukraine and Europe in the dark. Trump has already said he and Putin will speak in person soon, as he offered up Saudi Arabia as a likely first spot. Despot Putin responded by offering the U.S. president to come to Moscow as well after their first meeting. The PM vowed the UK will do our bit to try and enforce a peace deal. France and Sweden spoke out in favor of the plan at a crisis summit in Paris on Monday, but didn't go as far as Starmer, who said he is willing to deploy British troops. But the idea was dramatically rejected by a number of other fellow leaders.
And I think that we need to do more. We need to step up in terms of our collective response in Europe And by that I mean capability, by that I mean playing our full part when it comes to the defence of the sovereignty of Ukraine if there's a peace agreement, and of course when it comes to funding and training. So on all those fronts I want the UK and all European allies to step up and for the UK to play a leading part in that.
German Chancellor Olaf Scholz described Starmer's pleas as premature and highly inappropriate. He then stormed out of the meeting, adding that the sheer thought of making decisions seemingly on behalf of Ukraine was irritating. The soured debates over Europe's future took place during a 3-hour chat at the Elysee Palace. Key players expected to use their vast militaries to help put boots on the ground have also raised doubts. Poland, Spain, and Italy all joined Germany in scrutinizing Starmer's plan.